Are you doing everything you're supposed to for your tomatoes and still getting cracked, rotting, or just plain sad-looking fruit? It's one of the most frustrating things in the garden. You pick the sunniest spot, you water faithfully, you prune the branches you think are the right ones, and your harvest is still a total letdown. Well, what if I told you that some of the most popular tomato growing rules are secretly sabotaging your plants? The frustrating truth is, you've likely been following advice that's actually working against you. So, stick around, because we're about to bust the 3 biggest tomato myths that are holding you back and show you the simple shifts that will lead to the best tomatoes you've ever grown. First up, the most common reason for tomato troubles: water. The myth is really a two-parter. First, that tomatoes are super thirsty and need a daily drenching, and second, that it doesn't really matter how you water them, as long as they get wet. Both of these ideas are a recipe for the 2 things gardeners dread most: blossom and rot and cracked fruit. You know what I'm talking about. That beautiful, almost ripe tomato, completely ruined by a sunken black patch on the bottom. That's blossom and rot. Most people will tell you it's from a lack of calcium in your soil, sending you rushing for eggshells or lime. But here's the thing. In many gardens, the soil has plenty of calcium. The problem isn't the supply of calcium, it's the delivery. Think of your plant's watering system as a pipeline that carries nutrients. Calcium needs a steady, consistent flow of water to be carried all the way to the developing fruit. When you let the soil get bone dry and then flood it, you create a stop-and-go traffic jam in that pipeline. The plant gets stressed, the calcium delivery stalls, and the cells at the end of the tomato collapse. That's your rot. That same inconsistent watering is also why fruits split. After a dry spell, a sudden heavy watering makes the inside of the tomato swell faster than the skin can stretch, and, pop, it cracks. So, what's the secret? It isn't more water, it's consistent water. Ditch the rigid daily schedule and get to know your soil. The best tool you have is your own finger. Stick it 2 inches into the soil near the plant's base. If it's dry, it's time to water. If you feel moisture, hold off. You're aiming for soil that feels like a wrung-out sponge, not swinging between a desert and a swamp. And how you water is just as important. The idea that watering from above is fine is just asking for trouble. Wet leaves are an open invitation to fungal diseases like blight. When you splash water everywhere, you can launch soil-borne pathogens right onto the lower leaves, where they'll happily set up shop. The best practice, always, is to water the soil, not the plant. Use a watering wand, soaker hoses, or drip irrigation to get water straight to the roots while the leaves stay nice and dry. It's more efficient and is one of the single best things you can do to lower your risk of disease. Next up is one of the most debated topics in the tomato world: pruning. The myth is that you have to religiously pinch off every single sucker, those little shoots that pop up where a side branch meets the main stem. This advice often leads well-meaning gardeners to butcher their plants, and then they wonder why their harvest is so small. The truth is, whether you should prune at all depends entirely on one thing. Are you growing a determinate or an indeterminate tomato? Not knowing the difference is like trying to use the same training method for a cat and a dog. Determinate tomatoes are the bush types. They're genetically wired to grow to a fixed size, set all their fruit in a few weeks, and then they're pretty much done. On these plants, those so-called suckers aren't suckers at all. They are the branches that will give you your fruit. If you prune them off, you are literally cutting off your future harvest. For determinate varieties, the rule is simple: leave them alone. The only pruning you might do is removing a few of the lowest leaves if they're touching the ground. Indeterminate tomatoes, on the other hand, are the vining types. They just keep growing and making fruit all season long until frost. These are the plants that can benefit from some smart pruning. But even here, the goal isn't just to remove every sucker you see. Pruning indeterminate tomatoes is about improving air circulation to help prevent disease and directing the plant's energy. By limiting the plant to 1 or a few main stems, you can encourage it to produce larger, though fewer, fruits. But be careful. Over-pruning can slash your total yield and leave the fruit exposed to sun scald. A good, balanced approach for indeterminate plants is to clear the suckers from the bottom foot or so of the main stem to get good airflow. Above that, you can decide whether to let a couple of strong suckers grow into main stems or keep it to a single leader. Just remember, every sucker you leave has the potential to make more tomatoes. And one final point. Don't assume that all heirloom tomatoes are indeterminate. That's not true. Growth habit and heirloom status are totally separate. You can find determinate heirlooms like Amish paste and modern hybrids that are indeterminate. Always check the plant tag or seed packet before you even pick up the pruners. Our final myth is one that seems logical on the surface. More fertilizer equals more tomatoes. We hear that tomatoes are heavy feeders, so it's easy to fall into the trap of pumping them with all-purpose fertilizer all season long. The result? You grow a monster. A gorgeous, lush, 10-foot-tall plant with leaves so green it's the envy of the neighborhood. But when you look closer, there are hardly any flowers, and even fewer tomatoes. This is the classic sign you've made a force-feeding mistake. You've been feeding the leaves, not the fruit. Here's the deal. Tomatoes have different needs at different stages. Nitrogen is what fuels green, leafy growth. Early on, that's great. It helps the young plant build a big, strong frame. But as soon as that plant starts to flower, its priorities change. If you keep hitting it with high nitrogen food, the plant will just keep pouring its energy into making more leaves, often at the expense of flowers and fruit. Plus, some evidence suggests that all that lush, tender growth can make your plant a more attractive target for pests like aphids. The secret is to change your feeding strategy the moment you see those first flower clusters. At that point, you need to back off the nitrogen and switch to a fertilizer higher in phosphorus and potassium. Phosphorus helps with flowers and roots, and potassium is crucial for overall plant health and good fruit development. So instead of one formula all season, switch to a balanced fertilizer, or one made for tomatoes or blooms once flowering starts. But remember, fertilizer isn't a magic bullet. The perfect feeding plan really depends on what's already in your soil. The absolute best way to know what your garden needs is to get a simple soil test. Think of fertilizer as a supplement to great soil, not a substitute for it. Your real goal should be building rich, healthy soil with plenty of compost. The fertilizer is just there to fill in any gaps and give the plant a boost during its demanding fruiting season. So, there you have it. The key to a fantastic tomato harvest isn't about doing more, it's about doing the right things at the right time. It's about finally understanding what your plants actually need to thrive. By providing consistent water at the roots, knowing your plant's type before you prune, and feeding for fruit instead of just leaves, you can stop working against your plants and start working with them. These simple shifts can turn a season of frustration into the delicious, homegrown harvest you've been dreaming of. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these myths have you been following? Let me know about your own aha moments in the comments below. And if this helped you out, give this video a like and subscribe for more gardening tips that actually work. Happy gardening!